What is up, world? This is Kimberly and Connor Tracy here with Big Red SEO.
Hey, guys.
We are doing some new technology. As always, you know how we like to try new stuff, do new stuff. There's a Yeti mic, but based on me having such a large volume, it's on the other side of the room.
Which, of course, means that you're picking up my microphone, my mouse every time I click. So.
It's cool. It's cool. So, hey, we wanted to tune in. This is our weekly recap. So, we are a husband and wife team here in Omaha, Nebraska, Exarban specifically, Exarban Village. We do website design as well as niche ourselves in the SEO pay-per-click industry. We know enough to be dangerous in other marketing areas, but honestly, we follow what trips our trigger the most, which happens to be small businesses that are looking to be able to get the competitive advantage or help people see and understand why they do what they do for a living. One of the areas that I personally love is finding people that are passionate about what they're doing for a living, the people that they're able to serve as well as help, and then help them figure out how to market their business to whenever people do searches for that.
Can you guys actually hear us? Because that mic is not showing working.
That's a good question.
There you go. Hey, so let's start all over again.
That's funny. Did we not have any volume at all?
There was no volume at all.
Oh, cool. Well, I guess if you are watching us live, you now hear our voice. So you just got to fast forward in the process of all that. So again, just quickly to recap, my name's Kimberly Tracy. This is Conor Tracy.
Hey, guys.
With Big Red SEO here in Omaha, Nebraska. So today we wanted to bring a couple different things for you guys because as you know, the new year is just around the corner. However, we still have a couple days of the old year. And while there are some people that are like mentally checked out or want to spend time with their friends and their family, which is super, super cool, we know a lot of people that are still in the building business for the 2018. So I wanted to share a couple little tidbits, maybe to help to get you guys some more sales in the door, if that sounds of interest at all.
Chat stuff up over there?
Yeah, so there's two people watching us now. Hey, Casey, how are you?
And Casey, can you hear us?
Yeah, she said she can hear us now.
Cool.
So before she just heard nothing. So she just saw our mouths moving and she probably didn't know. So anyway.
I wish that was possible to do.
I know, right? Okay, so here's the deal. So one, if you guys have followed us for quite some time, you know that I don't necessarily agree with giving a lot of stuff for free. However, I am a true believer in creating stuff together. So I realized that we went through Thanksgiving. I realized we went through Christmas. People might have invested a lot of different money. However, people are still wanting to invest money, right? So what I would creatively recommend for all of you guys is create a package or create a deal or start to reach out to the people that you have in your pipeline. One, you can genuinely call them and wish them a happy new year. That's one of the best ways to get into contact. Believe it or not, you don't always have to contact somebody to sell someone, but just kind of putting your business name in their ear, wishing them, hey, so glad you had success in 2018. I want to wish you massive success in 2019. Oh, and by the way, here's some stuff I have coming down the pipeline. So before this video, I actually had a strategy session with one of my clients, and she's really, really, really good at what she does, right? And it was kind of cool creating different packages. And in 2019, she's actually launching exclusive events just for her package that she has. So with this, guys, don't be afraid to build something, reach out to your existing people, but then also just be humble and reach out and wish people a happy new year. Believe it or not, as businesses just in general, like, I get that people buy stuff and there's a transaction purchase. Maybe you don't have a communication with your client, but how cool would that be if you just placed a call and said hello and introduced yourself? I don't know. It kind of gets the energy going back and forth, right? So the second thing I would recommend, and this actually helps you in 2019 more than right now, but it does make an impact, is write thank you notes to people. It doesn't necessarily mean that they had to purchase from you in the last 30, 90 days, or even the 6 months. If they purchased anything from you within 2018, handwrite them a note and actually leave a little bit of information. If you're kind of shy and you haven't been around people, write the note like you would be writing it to yourself. That's pretty cool, honestly. Like, if I wrote myself a note, I'd be like, you are super awesome, and I really, really appreciate you. Could you imagine me sending myself a note for that? I do it all the time. I can,
actually.
I do it all the time. Every time I go to a city, I mail myself something back.
Every now and again, I'll come out into the kitchen, and there'll be notes and stuff all over different counters.
Don't tell all my secrets. Don't tell all my secrets.
Just don't accidentally throw something away.
I know, right? So here's the deal, though, is when you actually do a personal note, and it doesn't have to be super long, right? It doesn't have to be a poem or really deep in the trenches, unless that's your gig. It's personally my gig. But just writing a handwritten note to say, hey, thank you so much for your business. We hope that you have a great rest of the year, and we look forward to talking to you next year. Make sure you put your business card in and or possibly follow us on Facebook, right? Why not ask for people to follow you and ask people to support you?
See, and I'll go against that a little bit in that if it's strictly a reach out that, hey, I hope everything is going wonderful and so forth, then don't make it business at all. Just make it you, make it personal.
Yeah, I mean, you could. One way that you can transition this, guys, is maybe what you do is you say, hey, I've got some really cool, exciting things happening in 2019. If you want more information, follow me over on social media. So it's just a preference on personal, industry, whatever. I personally have not had one person get their feelings hurt blending the business and the personal.
True.
So,
well, and that's because we are the business, and if you do business with us, we are the personal.
There is something,
there's no real turn on, turn off.
I think
that's what we do.
I think there is something to be said on if you just naturally gruff and you personally don't like it, maybe you adapt your strategy so you're comfortable with it, but just realize that we project off onto other people. So maybe some people genuinely don't know you have a Facebook page, right? Maybe they genuinely want to support you, but they forgot about you.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, it happens all the time. Believe it or not, people are just super, super busy, so they might forget. Maybe they set an intention with themselves that in 2019 they want to get more involved in businesses, right? And support businesses a little more. And that one sentence of follow us on Facebook might be the trigger for them to start following other businesses too.
And I know we're talking about personal notes and supporting the U.S. Postal Service and all the other...
That was a big old bottle of water.
All the other
I'm not going to say what brand it is, but you can tell by the bottle.
But, actually earlier today, so I want to say like 10, 11 a.m., something like that, I actually got an email from a person that I do business with. And it was just 3 lines. I hope everything is going well for you this year, and she'll be around to help throughout the upcoming year. So just keeping the message in front of somebody is enough many times to be able to then redo business with them as we move forward. And as you're trying to think of other things to do, this kind of leads right into one of the things I wanted to talk about, which is the elevator pitch. And we've talked about elevator pitches before.
I love elevator pitches.
And we were actually talking about it here just this week as to how to do a video based on that. And we're working on a video, so one will come out fairly soon. But while we were talking about doing the elevator pitches, I actually got an email today from a big publication that was talking about elevator pitches.
Oh, that's
I'm
funny.
like, dang it, I thought that was my thing for the day. But as we go here, we've got a couple more days here of holidays that a lot of people are still on holiday or break away from work or whatever else. So grab a notepad, grab a scratch pad or whatever, and work on that 30-second pitch, that 20-second pitch. If you don't know how to explain your business inside and out within 30 seconds, you don't know your business well enough.
Yeah, I think there could be that. I also think that some people naturally can create an elevator script or pitch, or I think sometimes you're just not used to it, right? So the fastest way I would say is if you're building an elevator pitch, ask your friends or family what you do for a living. I know it feels a little weird and it might feel a little awkward, but believe it or not, they will be able to mirror to you what you say that you do. And then so 1, it could give you ideas. 2, it can make you realize you don't have an elevator pitch because they're like, I don't know what the hell you do for a living, right? But then 3, you can actually grab little clues. I personally, what I do is I help coach people through doing that. So I always have them look at their last 5 profitable clients that they had that they onboarded, or maybe they sold a product to, and then build the elevator pitch based on that. But we all have our job titles, right? We all have what is our business stand for? What are we doing for our business? My whole thing is just make sure you have different types of elevator pitches so you're not saying the same thing over and over and over and over and over, right? I actually got asked yesterday, I was with one of my clients, I do team coaching with them, and after I was done with a section of the session, one of the gals popped in and said, "What are you again? Like, what do we call you again?" And I'm like, "Oh," thinking in my head, "Oh, I'm Kim Tracy, right?" And in this particular client, I actually let them know soul coach or soul mentor, because we're kind of working more on soul life, mind, body, spirit stuff. But it's easy and it rolls off the tongue, and she actually lit up. So when she went to the other room to explain the person what I did, like that's what she needed. She needed the title to be able to explain what I do for a living on that side of the house, basically.
And when I work with people, they just say, "Yeah, he does something with
Conor.
Google."
It's Conor. Or they think you do computer fixing and all that jazz.
Yeah, I don't fix
It's like
computers.
one or the other.
I don't do internet. I have been working a little bit the last couple of days with my mom in particular with regards to computer stuff. Just things not acting the way they should.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
so I can do a little bit of that, but I'm not the computer guy I used to be.
Yeah, I totally hear you. Totally hear you. So what's new in the Google world and or online marketing world?
So it's the end of the year, so much of everything that's going on right now is just wrap-ups as to what has happened for the year, what all is good, what's bad, and then what changes have actually happened. For the most part, it's kind of mellow. It's odd for the end of the year, especially at Christmas.
Knock on wood. Conor always has a way of doing that, right?
I know.
We want it
Later
to be mellow
today,
to a certain extent.
it'll be crazy.
Yeah.
But no, actually, with the Google stuff, it's kind of mellow. I was actually in a conversation earlier today with somebody. We were talking about different softwares and getting links and what was valuable and that end of things. So basically, the stuff that was all still working in 2017 still works today. Just don't abuse it.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's
links,
like one trend, right? We've seen a lot in doing our different audits that we do is people applying SEO practices from 3 to 5 to 7 years ago, right? At one point, I'm not going to say that it didn't count and it didn't work, but if you go to abuse a system, something's going to come back one way or another, right?
Yeah. The big buzz still right now is something that I had touched on here about 2 months ago when I went to an SEO conference and I got to meet with a gentleman. But basically, he was able to rank a website completely, take the top spots using lorem ipsum, which is just generic text.
Designer text.
And essentially what
stage text we use.
Yeah, stage text. Essentially what it came down to is that he checked all the boxes that Google was looking for. So Google is just a science engine and a metrics engine.
Google is more than that, but yeah. So.
Right. But
Sorry, Google.
As long as
you're more than just a box.
As long as you meet all of the things that they're actually looking for, then your website ranks. And it ended up his website and a bunch of his other websites that he owns got blacklisted by Google.
Oh.
So that went through. We kind of touched a little bit on that.
Yeah, he got slapped pretty hard. Yeah, we're not going to give the logistics on it, but he got in trouble, and so now it's coming down the pipeline. So, but I mean, I think in general in business, just in marketing, there's a lot out there, guys. Like I had a session not that long ago where somebody was trying to apply all these different things and what they found in business books and podcasts and different groups that they're part of and so forth. We truly believe in keeping it simple. So pick one thing marketing wise every month and implement that and master it, right? So like maybe in January you're focusing on, hey, I want to create a newsletter and get engagement, right? What does that look like? Maybe you compound in February, you up your blog so you have stuff to pump into the newsletter besides what you're selling, right? And then maybe in March you commit to, okay, I want to get a little bit better in social media practices. You could go out and get all the different accounts and all the different things, right? But at the end of the day, what happens is you got to figure out what works. And we typically recommend applying one, maybe two, right? So like us, I personally like Facebook, mainly on the business, less on the personal. But I mean, you got to figure out what's the right kick for you, right? And try not to do all of it at once so it's kinked. I do know that the New Year's in 2019 is all about New Year's resolutions. You can find a way to make that really, really good, or you can find a way to make it kind of stressful. We're just about consistent action. You know what I mean?
Let's go down there.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of everything that you've said.
Everything I just said because he didn't listen to any of it.
No, one of the things we were talking about New Year's resolutions, and from the social media end of things, one of the things that you talked about was giving up a little more control on the social media end of things to let me take over some of the stuff.
So I think like control's a big thing, right? So I like to right my ship, and I like to make sure the ship's headed down the right way and the right path, right?
I like to run it into the rocks and just say the hell with it.
He does like to be a little bit of a rebel. I think we all do. But yeah, so I had to like let go of the social media to a certain extent. I'm very creative. Even if you go to our Facebook page now, you'll notice that we don't post a lot of things. We'll try to change that here in the near future. But it's mainly because we're working and we're creating for clients. So one, at the end of the day, this is us practicing what we're preaching, guys, about being consistent. We have a plan that we're going to be implementing. We're going to be going through that process, right? We do create a lot for other people, whether it's the SEO, pay-per-click, and then marketing and so forth. So it's easy to get into the trenches. I think every business owner can feel that, where you get into the trenches of what we classify as you're producing for other people, right? So sometimes the old phrase, until I got really fucking pissed off about it, was cobbler kid has no shoes. And then I was like, damn it, I'm tired of being a cobbler's kid. So then I like changed and scrubbed it up for a bit. But back to the control thing, like as a business owner, I wear multiple hats. This guy wears multiple hats as well. But when it comes down to it, I'm the one that drives the ship. I had to look at it and be like, okay, at the end of the day, I'm not really good at this, staying consistent. So here you go, put this on your task list, right? And I'm very fortunate in the fact that I have you. Like a lot of people continue to remind me of how fortunate I am and having somebody in my corner. So at the end of the day, figure out what is best for you to control, what is best for you to let go, because once I let go, even that energetically, I think it was about a week and a half ago, I was able to get more stuff done in different areas and different possibilities. And then I think we were at dinner or lunch yesterday, and I was like, man, I haven't been creative in a while. And I would think creative would be social media, but it's actually creative in a different avenue for me personally. So I create for clients and I create for business and all that jazz for me personally. You know what I mean? So
something to do tonight is work on a content creation calendar for...
Yeah, see, he always tries to add to my list. I don't need more stuff added to my list. You are in charge of the content creation calendar now.
No problem. Yeah. I'll have that done tonight.
Yeah, see?
And then I'll bring everybody here along for the ride.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, you just got to figure out what is good for you to continue forward and what's good for you to kind of just, like, let go and release, if that makes sense. So
yeah, one of the things that I am striving for this year in particular is to generate more traffic over at our YouTube channel. So I just threw that up on the screen. It's youtube.com/BigRedSEO. But that is something that I'm trying to do a lot more of, is to do that. And one of the things coming up then will be more videos from our end that are less on the live end of things, but more explainer, more how-to videos so that you guys can actually do the work directly. Some of it is more complicated than others, and those that are too complicated, that's what we're here to resolve. So
I mean, at the end of the day, like, we want to help people in the best way, in the best realm that we can. So if you have ideas of stuff that you want, be sure to send us an email, right? I think Conor can type it somewhere or put it in the comments in Facebook. I don't know. But yeah, so reach out to us and send us information on what it is exactly that you need help with. We'll figure out how we can build it in. Again, the easiest way we can say it is we have a lot of answers and we have a lot of skills. The thing is, we don't necessarily know the question to be asked. If that makes sense. So, like, we have all this genius here, right? And we love videos because we say hello, people. But yeah, so we're just trying to figure all that stuff out.
A couple other things with regards to this year in particular with SEO. The two major updates, or three major updates that have come out. One really has to do with the website speed.
Right.
So making sure your website is fast has become a critical item. If your website is taking more than 3 seconds, you've got a problem.
So, and just real quickly, how to explain this, we can definitely do it down the pipeline, but I think if you've got some spare time over this weekend, it might be something for you to clean up pretty quickly. So a lot of times what happens, guys, is people have images within their website, and if they have a product or a service, or they've invested in a professional photographer, they go and have these awesome photo sessions done, they put it into the website, and then the website churns and goes super, super slow. So a couple things to think about. So when you get images done from a photographer specifically, they're such high quality that they're going to be able to print on whether it's canvas or metal or even put you up on billboards. The images are massively huge, right? It makes sense why they are, because they're doing the editing and so forth. Same thing with your cell phone. When you, depending on what type of cell phone you have, the image size will start between 2,000 to 4,000 pixels. So that's kind of a geek term, but it's a large file, right? And it'll go all the way up to 10 to 12,000 pixels. If you have the extra tidbits in where you're adding black and white, or you're doing some kind of like fancy image logo or whatever, the file is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger as you're editing inside the image, right? Even if you do an image editor like Photoshop, you do have the chance of the image getting bigger. So there's these things called that kind of optimize the images to make them smaller, right? Your website specifically only needs an image so big. And I think our recommendation now is like 1,200 pixels by 1,200 pixels, unless you have a design that goes full screen, and then now it's like 1,900 pixels by 1,900 pixels.
1900, it's 1920 by 1080.
Yeah, but here's the deal though, guys, is it's not just the image size, it's also the whole file size. So there's like tiny PNG we use a lot, and then tiny JPEG we use a lot. So you can just type these into Google. So tiny PNG, I have it bookmarked in my little cookie thing, as well as tiny JPEG bookmarked in my cookie thing. So I'll take professional images and I'll drop them in here, or any images really, and then I go and I optimize them, and it chunks down. It cuts the image down to like 70 to 80%, but it doesn't take the clarity from the image, right?
And that's even if you have exported it from Photoshop and chosen to optimize it from Photoshop, you can still optimize it.
You can optimize it more, right? So the thought process is you want your images to be as small file size as possible. So when people are loading your website at the grocery store, or when they're in their car parked, or even anywhere wireless, that the website actually doesn't churn to load, right? A lot of times what happens is companies hurt themselves because they put these big files, they put these big sliders, and then they put these big files inside the slider, right? And when it comes to sliders, we don't recommend more than 3, maybe 4 images. Again, we're all about what's the objective, what's the intent.
3 at the most.
Most cases, ideally, it's best to just have a static image and that be it. But some people like to shove a lot of images inside their files, right? Or their website. So just optimize this stuff. If you have products, it is really, really important for you to optimize your images. It is severely important. We were on one website and we were going through products and we're doing an audit. It literally took 10 seconds to get the full images of the products to load. If it's less than 3 seconds, people are bouncing out. They don't have time for it.
23 images within that product. And each one of them took
a lot
8
of time.
to 10 seconds.
So the thing is again, so it's about the image size as well as the file size. It looks like Casey...
image dimensions.
Yeah, it looks like Casey provided a couple other resources as well.
Awesome. What did she give?
Yeah, so she said within Photoshop and Infinity Photo, you can decrease the pixel size while saving the image quality. Yep, for sure. So what I do is in Photoshop, I still use the practice of using tiny JPEG and PNG, and it squishes it even more. But yeah, so it's a free tool. Go ahead and use it if you so wish. But yeah, so I don't think speed is going to go away, guys. It's going to get more and more. I mean, even now, the search engines, Google specifically, is putting it in the indicator of bonus points for SEO, right?
It has definitely been a critical item for 2018, and it will definitely be an even more focused item for 2019. The other one that kind of goes along with that, I had it open on my screen. We got your speed update, your Matic update, which but the other one that ties in with the speed is the mobile. So Google is still doing mobile rollouts and mobile indexing and stuff like that. But that is not that is not going away. It is important. And that ties directly into speed. So the best place that I can recommend to go check out your speed, not on your phone, not on your computer, use a place called
great. It's so great. Love whenever his senior moments happen. He'll put it down in the comments for you guys.
Webpageoptimizer.com.
So you'll add it to the bottom of the comments so you guys have access to it.
Or webpage speed test.
Connor's brain just went.
Just gone.
You guys know what that means. Like when you go to the grocery store for the item and you don't take the list, and then you got all the items except for that list, and you walk in the house, you're like, dang it. I forgot toilet paper. That was pretty important once.
But on their website, it'll give a bunch of recommendations on what to do.
Yeah.
So web page speed test, it's an organization one. Google has their own indexing also, so they have their own speed test you can run if you have Webmaster Tools installed, and that's linked up to your website. It'll give you even more information. Yeah. But we use that just as a base reference when we're looking at websites. Then we run it through our software and different tools that I've created and so forth to get more data. But your speed and your mobile, the mobile is going to be the big thing. So make sure your menus work on your mobile. Make sure your mobile actually works.
Yeah. And how about this? Test your own website. Mm-hmm. There's not really an easy way to say it, but go through your website like you're an end user. Go through your shopping experience like you're an end user. If you have to purchase your own product, purchase your own product. It's actually an energy exchange. Sure. It's really good mojo. But go through and test these things. Don't assume that they're just going to work, and don't assume that it's a good user experience. Have other people test it too.
Yeah. So we all know that our cell phones now pretty much are running on 4G networks, so they're really fast and whatnot. A couple years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, Facebook made it that every Wednesday or every Thursday, the entire campus was shut down and you could only use 3G network.
Oh, goodness gracious.
So it was directly to find out where the problems are within their websites, within their tools, within the processes that people use. And it was a great experiment. I mean, I do variations of that here on my end where I throttle my browser so I can figure out what's going on or what's wrong.
Right.
But that is something to do. You know, Google, I know, has done a handful of days where it is mobile only. You cannot use anything on the web other than your phone. So that would be a good experiment. Go through on your phone, check and make sure that the checkout and that the ability to read the different things on the website, that you're not having to squint it and you're not having to zoom in and whatnot. Yeah. My eyesight has just gotten awful in the last year. The last
I'm not going to touch that.
I'm
not going to touch that. So a couple things just to wrap up here, guys, is make sure you take some time to reflect on business, right? Reflect on what you did, reflect on what you accomplished. Give yourself some kudos and pat on the back, right? So if you look at your numbers at the end of the year, try not to get discouraged, try not to get upset. Instead, look at it from an objective area of what could you change for the future? What could you enhance? What did you rock really, really well? And maybe you need to produce more on that. The other thing too is, what is it that you want to create, right? So a lot of times what happens is people set the traditional goals of, I want to do weight loss, I want to do this, I want to do that. Cool. If that's your jam, keep moving forward with that. But also reflect on business, on how everything went, and where do you feel like you can improve, right? What steps need to happen for you to be able to actually be the expert in your industry and or sell a lot more, right? Because we love making moolah. So as Conor said, go ahead and follow us on YouTube. So you just go to youtube.com/BigRedSEO. So there you go. So you could go ahead and follow that. He would really, really appreciate that if you subscribe, because that's actually where all of our how-tos are going to be located at, not necessarily Facebook Live. But other than that, I don't have anything else left. How are you?
Good to go. It's New Year's, so...
Do you say Merry New Year's or Happy New Year's?
I don't say Merry New Year's. No.
Well, thanks so much for joining us live. And if you're here on the replay, welcome. Thanks for following us. Go ahead and like this status as well as comment if you have any questions. We're happy to provide information as needed for the future. And we will be back next Friday at 2:30-ish. 2:30-ish, around that area. It's kind of like Irish time. Irish time's always late, or I don't know. That's totally me putting different stuff on it. Anyway, have a great one. We'll see you soon. Thanks.
All right, guys. Have a great day now. We'll talk to you later.